In 2010, then Home Secretary Theresa May introduced a series of policies aimed at creating a hostile environment for illegal immigrants. By April 2018, the hostile chickens came home to roost, when it was revealed this policy had negatively impacted legal British citizens from the Windrush generation. Rightly, the British public was outraged. But what hasn't been adequately addressed is the knock-on impact that this hostile environment has had on immigrants in general. Along with the negative narrative around immigration during the EU referendum campaign, this provided the perfect storm for a significant rise in hate crimes post the Brexit vote. So it's no surprise this fear of the other is now impacting our children. Last week, there was public outrage when a video went viral featuring an alleged bullying incident of a Syrian refugee in a school in Huddersfield. I fear that if our hostile environment remains unchecked, incidents like this will become the norm. The government needs to act now to preempt any anti-immigrant backlash by introducing integration lessons into our curriculum and similar programmes for adults. This could go a long way in helping us become a truly united kingdom.
Before we think about integration lessons, which is, for me, yet another thing to put on the curriculum, I would like to tell the panel, I went to Syria about 10 years ago.
God, wow.
And frankly, I thought it was a far more civilised country than many I visited in Europe. I went round the Crusader castles, I went to Homs, I went to the souks in Aleppo and Damascus. It was the most welcoming, warm, civilised country, and now it has been completely brutalised. 11 million people have left Syria, and we have only taken 10,000, which I think is about a thousand that I can't even say it.
If that.
I mean, it's a tiny, tiny amount, and the fact that when they find refuge in this country, they are met with racist abuse and bullying is absolutely shocking and is a national disgrace.
You put one in your spare room,
surprising, though.
You're right. I don't have a Syrian in my spare room. You're quite right.
Just checking.
But what's that?
But what's your point, Nick?
Well,
I think the point is that June's right to say that this country has become a hostile environment, and not just for Syrian refugees. And June is right in saying we must all check ourselves. And when you see somebody or hear somebody speaking a foreign language, you don't say, we voted, leave. You should go back to your country. I'm not saying that. This is what the Home Office has said and documented.
But this is what the statistics... Before you come in, Carol, because I know you're going to come in, can we have a look? Actually, I'm going to bring in a grab first by Iman Atta, who's the director of Tell Mama, a project which records and measures anti-Muslim incidents in the UK.
Brexit has actually shed a light on anyone who's different, anyone who spoke differently, anyone who was othered. And this dynamic stayed for a long time. It did not just go after Brexit. It did not diminish, because you've got as well the refugee crisis that's taking place in Europe, the impact of that, and the narrative of some of the campaigns that actually led to Brexit, that actually have driven that racial and anti-Muslim aggravation.
OK, I hear that bullying in any way, shape or form is wrong. But what really upset me about this particular one was how it was taken on social media. Bullying is happening at all of our schools every day, not just to immigrant kids. Every kid who is picked on because they're perceived to be different, whether they're overweight, they wear glasses, they're a bit shy, whatever it is. But I watched what social media did with this the other day, and it was disgusting. The left used it to try and say that Britain, post-Brexit Britain...
Well, we don't want to focus too much on this
but I'm talking about bullying per se, because what happened, this was made a political football, and it needn't have been. Bullying is not just about immigrants getting bullied, it's about everyone getting bullied.
Carol, so then what's your answer to the increase in hate crimes? If we look at the statistics...
I can do that.
OK, Nick, you do that.
I'm ready. You ready for it? Would these include the hate crimes, such as the Spanish restaurant that was allegedly clicked because they were Spanish, and in fact it was a burglary? Would they include the hate crime involved Sir Vince Cable, who said of Brexit voters they want to go back to a time when faces were white and passports were blue, and that was an alleged hate crime? Would it also include the pub landlady in Somerset who put the Welsh dragon in an archery competition?
Can I go to my Home Office statistics, please? So if we bring up our stats here, so we had 94,098 hate crime offences recorded by the police in England and Wales in 2017 to 2018. That's an increase by 17%.
Do you think it was right that this crime, this so-called hate crime, was used to bully the other boy who was now, we're told, has fled the country?
Oh, I am not in any way saying we should demonise the boy. I'm saying that actually, if you look at what happened, they are a victim of what's going on in society.
There are lots of victims, and this was made into a victim. This was made into an issue about immigration.
If we do not check this anti-immigrant narrative, if we don't look at this hostile environment, what we saw in that video is going to be something that we're seeing
for thousands of kids who aren't immigrants.
I've got a friend who's Indian background, 30s, brought up here, went to school here. Interestingly, he said up until the Brexit vote, he'd never encountered any sort of racial abuse. And in that week afterwards, now, whether he's still getting it, I don't know. I think you've got to be a bit more positive. I mean, let's look at it. There's a clip from the guy who's deputy leader of Bradford Council talking about when they took mixed race group, you know, basically Asian and white, away together.
Okay.
And we took them away on a residential to give them an opportunity to do some group activities together, a bit of a team building type exercise. And it was really interesting that on the first day you could see that there was almost a barrier between the two groups, but by day 3 they'd actually really come together and gelled quite well because they were young children that wanted to be children.
So, and there are some positive bits. There are some positive bits. I mean, if you looked at the reaction to the guy this week, the Tottenham fan, who threw a banana,
absolutely
who threw a banana skin, who he says he didn't even think about it being a banana, which might be right. But anyway, he threw a banana skin on him when there was a black player, and the reaction against it was massive.
And this is
which it wasn't 20 years ago.
But this is my point, Greg. My point is, as a country... Let me finish, please.
Sorry.
My point is, as a country, we have come so far on this issue.
I agree.
We have so much to teach the world on this issue. And if we don't check what's brewing, all of the work that we've done in the past 30 years could unravel. So that's what I'm talking about.
Don't you think you're putting too much doom and gloom, though?
I'm not. What I'm saying is we've got to look at what's going on.
You can't have children being picked on.
And we've also got to look at the data in terms of the amount of people that are experiencing real hate crime.
You talk about integration. What would be your, if you were, let's say,
a teacher?
I don't know. How would you integrate Muslim communities?
I've got my paper, I've got my pen.
Integrate.
Lesson 1, here we go.
Lesson 1.
Miss.
How would you... Because, of course, we've had multiculturalism, and now you're saying what we need is integration. So how are we going to switch horses?
Twofold. I think if you look at the Windrush generation, when they were first coming over here, and even when you look at the expelled Asian community that Idi Amin expelled in the 70s, before those communities arrived, there was preparation. You saw all of the news bulletins. You saw what was going on in their countries. We prepared Britain for this new influx of immigrants. And I think that actually what schools need to do, particularly in areas where you have a large influx of immigrants, schools need to have classes where we teach children about where those kids have come from. Because back to that incident, I genuinely believe if that kid had known what that Syrian refugee's family had been through, there's no way he would have been bullying him that way. And then actually we then look at what our shared narrative is. What is it that we're wanting to create together as a country?
But are you not looking back at the Windrush generation with a sort of a certain... I don't think you're right, actually. I think with a certain view... I mean, I lived in... Yes, I know you think you're right.
There were problems.
She's right.
You can think you're right. You can't claim to be right. Otherwise, you just destroyed the point of the programme.
I think I'm right.
No, all I'm saying is I lived in South London at that time, and Brixton, which today is an incredibly fashionable, multicultural... Brixton wasn't like that in the 1960s.
I agree,
and
I'm of course there were problems. We know there were problems, but my goodness, I think there would have been far worse problems had that preparation.
Are you right, Nick?
No, but I know I'm right that I've got to get this in. The words of Education Minister Nadeem Zahawi: harassment or bullying of any kind is completely unacceptable and abhorrent in any setting, including schools. Both the police and the local authority are investigating this incident. The department will support them in any way we can. Schools have a role in promoting community cohesion and integration and are required to support pupils' spiritual, moral, social and cultural development and to promote fundamental British values. This is a priority for the DFE.
Precisely. We want more of that.
And That's it for that one.
That's it.
You're right, June. You're always right.
Thank you.